Oh, it looks like we're live.
We are live.
Hey, everybody. It's JJ Conway and Cubby Conway.
What's up, y'all?
We're going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to talk a little bit about our summer travels for today. I'm also going to share with you some new scams that you want to be aware of. And we're going to answer some questions, including how to make I'm going to answer some questions about how to make an extra $1,000 a month, as well as how to talk to a financial advisor without signing up for anything. And any other questions that you might have or that we have time for, we'll go ahead and get those answered tonight as well. If you will just give me a quick pause, I just realized I forgot to hit send to my mailing list and let them know that the class is actually happening tonight. I know we're running a little late, and it's not because it's the first game of the NFL, although that would have been a fun excuse. I'm not that into football. I am hopeful that Dallas will continue to lose right up to the last end of the fourth quarter that's happening right now. But of course, now that I said it, that's probably not going to happen. I should have kept my mouth shut.
Let's go.
All right, everybody.
Cowgirls.
So me and Cubby would like to welcome you to the Ladies of Wealth podcast. And like I said earlier, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Snuggling.
You're snuggling?
I guess.
Okay. Let me start over.
Sorry.
You can snuggle.
Yay.
All right, everybody. It's JJ Conway. I want to welcome you to the Ladies of Wealth podcast. Me and Cubby.
Wait. All the way back there.
Yeah, you're going to keep interrupting me. I'm going to keep starting over.
Sorry.
All right, let's do this thing. Hey, everybody, it's JJ Conway and Cubby Conway. We're going to welcome you today to the Ladies of Wealth podcast. We've got a lot of fun things to cover with you today. And if you are new to us and our body of work, what we do is we have these Thursday night broadcasts. We usually have them 2 hours earlier. Okay, we're not delayed because of the football game, although, that was kind of tempting. It just took a lot longer to get everything together to share with you today, because we're going to start off talking about our summer travel. We're going to talk about 7 ways to make an extra $1,000 a month. We're going to talk about some scams that you need to know about, and we're going to answer questions as time allows. It is our first Thursday of the month, and that's usually our Q&A, our Fireside chat, where I answer your questions with style and grace. And if you're watching me on YouTube instead of listening on the podcast, please forgive me. I have this new camera and I'm still trying to figure out where to look so you can see that I'm looking at you. It's not right into the camera, because then it makes me look like I'm looking over you. But we're working on it. All right. It's a work in progress. But we're going to have some fun tonight. And if you are listening to me as part of the podcast, then you will notice that we have broken it up into several podcasts, and hope that you will enjoy the new format. We're going to have a lot more interviews as we go into this, our 7th season or 8th season. I think it's the 7th season of our podcast. You're going to be seeing some more interviews. We're going to be breaking things into shorter segments, but we're not doing that today, because today I'm going to talk to you about our trip. Okay? Do you have anything to say before you go to bed?
I'm going to give you a hint about what to expect.
Okay, what to expect?
Funniness.
Lots of funniness.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So go ahead and say goodnight. Say goodnight. You can't stay here. You have school tomorrow.
I want to stay here.
Well, then maybe we should start broadcasting on Fridays after football.
Goodbye.
Okay. So the first thing I want to do is share with y'all some information about our summer trip. And it was absolutely a wonderful summer trip. So as many of you know, we usually do travel. Oh, wait, I forgot to make an announcement. Okay, I forgot to make an announcement. The American Legion here in Stephenville is doing a raffle. You can choose either a rifle. Okay, is that a rifle or is that a shotgun? Ooh.
It doesn't matter. They're both
It's a
guns,
shotgun.
so-
It's a shotgun. It's 20 gauge. That means it's a shotgun. 12 or 20 gauge. Yeah, because shotgun. It spits out little pellets, shots. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Anyway. Okay. So you can either choose. You can either choose a wonderful custom gun there, or you can also choose the Dyson Airwrap. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I would prefer that you do not choose the Dyson Airwrap because that's what I'm going for. But seriously, though, ladies, there's not that many in there for the Dyson set. But these are $20 each, and if you want one, you can simply PayPal me the money for it, or you can give me cash if you're here local in Stephenville. And what I will do is, if you are from out of town, now, I can't do that because it's a firearm. It says you don't have to be present to win, but you do got to be present to come and get your prize. They're not trying to just give guns away. All right. So if you're interested, you can PayPal me the information. But if you win, you got to come to Stephenville and get it. And if you're going to come to Stephenville anyway, well, we might as well have lunch and do something fun. Maybe work on your finances a little bit, huh? I'll throw in some free financial planning with that. You can come to my new office downtown. All right. So those are the tickets. That's the announcement that I want to make. All right. Okay. So now, let's go ahead and start with a discussion of the family travel. All right. So, can you hear me? Testing. Okay, I'm going to make sure y'all can hear me over this. Okay, so normally during July, my family does take some time off because we have our General Assembly at the end of June. Well, we start off with our Juneteenth conference, wherever that's hosted. This year, it just happens to be that we had chosen Fort Worth. We normally choose our locations several years out. So, for example, next year is going to be in Tulsa. The year after that is going to be Kansas City. And I'm going to tell you, during this summer travel, I think I found the 2028 location. I'm very excited about that. I'll announce that as part of this summer travels discussion. But this year was in Fort Worth. We picked Fort Worth because I knew that this was the year I was supposed to retire from the Air Force, and I was going to be moving to Texas, and in 2024 was the year I was supposed to retire from the Air Force, moved to Texas, and then in 2025 we were going to have the Texas Juneteenth. Well, I retired a little earlier, that unexpected to me, but always known by the Lord. And but we still had Fort Worth on the books. And so just to let y'all know, a lot of times people say, "Oh, JJ, where are you from?" I fly out of Dallas, but I want to let y'all know just exactly where we are. We are not in Dallas, okay? And so hopefully this is playing well enough that you can see this map of Texas here. Okay, you can see the square, see how this expands, and right down here, about an hour and a half, 2 hours from Fort Worth, and 2 to 3 hours from Dallas is where we live in Stephenville, Texas. Okay, so for us, we are out in the middle of nowhere, but we are out here with the rodeos, and we are out here with the cowboy, like the real world cowboys and the dairy farms, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so we took the Juneteenth conference up to Fort Worth, and it was fantastic. There you go. The world. Oh, y'all, I forgot I put this in here. This is Cubby riding a sheep. This is called mutton busting. This is what we do down here for fun, y'all. This is what we do for fun, and it is fun. It's good old-fashioned American patriotic fun, and we are enjoying that aspect of living here in Texas. For our conference, we were at the Black-owned Hotel Dryce, and we had our actual. They basically converted an old factory into a boutique hotel. Okay, it was a fantastic event. We had our meet and greet Wednesday night here. Then we went, me and some of the speakers, we all went to the Clark Sisters to see the Clark Sisters of the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. Oh my goodness, y'all. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. I think I've got them singing a little bit here. As you can see, they're coming out. And then they've got, not only do you have the Clark sisters, you've got the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. Then you have the 200-person Unity Choir that it's going to expand out, and you're going to be able to see that back there. And this maestro, y'all, he was one of the best. He was one of the best conductors I've ever watched. Okay, my husband accepting. One of the best conductors I've ever watched. And this was such a fun concert. You can see the Unity Choir back there. And look, they didn't even tell the audience don't record, because everybody was recording. Clap your hands and praise you missed it. Okay. Oh, I can't replay it. Okay, so you want to replay it? Hold on. Okay. Just a little bit. Okay. Okay, here we go. Clap your hands and praise the Lord. All right. Time for bed. Okay, so after that, we finished. I had my hired help there help me make the bags. And then our next thing in the morning, Thursday morning, was the Opal Lee Walk with Opal Lee to commemorate her walk from city to city to try to make Juneteenth a holiday. And so we decided, because we're in this historic birthplace of Juneteenth, not the birthplace of Juneteenth itself, because that was actually Galveston, but the mother of Juneteenth there in Fort Worth. This is her event. We tried to visit her farm. It didn't kind of work out, but we're going to get out there next time. But we had a great time with the walk. And then from the walk, we actually went to our space at Wed Spaces, another Black-owned venue. One of the things that I absolutely loved about this was how many Black-owned venues and vendors we were able to incorporate. And we were actually able to coordinate with the Fort Worth Juneteenth committee members. Not I didn't get invited, I wasn't that big time because I was from out of town, but we got to coordinate with some of the committee members to make sure that our events overlapped and dovetailed nicely into their Freedom Fest events. Was it Freedom Fest? I think it was called Freedom Fest. Their inaugural Freedom Fest to celebrate Juneteenth and the opening soon of the National Juneteenth Museum. Okay. Like many conferences, ours was impacted by recent world events. Many conferences that talk about Juneteenth were impacted, and ours was no different, but it was still an amazing time. So after the walk, we went to Wed Spaces. We had Dr. George Fraser. We had senior, that's going too fast. Oh my goodness. Let me just say, we had some amazing speakers. And I didn't realize how fast they were all going to display, because I was going to call them all by name. But we started off with Dr. George Fraser. We had some heavy hitters and some emerging speakers. We had Brother Bedford come in and let me interview him. And it was such a good time. Monique rounded us out. Our vendor fair was amazing. And then Friday, we had our Black Veterans Brunch at the hotel. And after that, we went to downtown Fort Worth, y'all. Some of our attendees joined us backstage at the to learn about how we do the cowboys and how they handle the cattle and everything. And then let me show you what we got to see. We got to see a real world cattle drive. They do this and they do it every day. So if you go to Fort Worth, you can plan yourself a little visit and see this every day. Okay, so this was a lot of fun. It was really, there's so much that we packed into this weekend. It was great. And so that was Friday. That's the Black Veterans Brunch was the official close of the conference. But we always, wherever city we're in, we tell everybody what sightseeing my family's going to do. And we allow them to join us in the sightseeing. So that's what this is. We went all over Fort Worth. And then after Fort Worth was done, we headed over to Dallas so that we could have attend the NSA North Texas chapter gala, National Speaker Association North Texas gala. And at the gala, I was recognized for being a part of this coming year's board, the 2025 to 2026 board. It's historic because it's our 45th anniversary. It'll be my third year serving on the board, and I'm very excited about that. Had I realized how long I made the cattle drive video, I probably would have had more to say about Fort Worth. We really did have a fabulous time there all day. But let's see if I can get it to the NSA. This was one I forgot to trim. Let's see. It should be going. Okay, there we go. There's the new board for our National Speaker Association. Then we went to our General Assembly, and I got to show you this, okay? So then we went. So that was Juneteenth, and then our NSA board gala at the end of the Juneteenth weekend. Then we went to our church's annual General Assembly. And for the first time in my life, y'all, I made a makeup video. The reason I made a makeup video is because they sold out. Mac changed their formulation to remove talc, and as you can see, they have the new colors. Well, the new colors don't match up very well, and a lot of people were complaining. So I went ahead and tried it out. But here's the crazy thing. Once I got them both on, nobody could tell. And I'll post that full video for you later of what it's like. But there we were in Montgomery. Mobile at the Arthur R. Outlaw Convention Center. It was nice to see my big boy again, my young man, and he brought a lady friend home from North Carolina, and we got to know her over the summer. We had, this video wasn't supposed to be first. Okay, I messed that up. Oopsie. So it was nice to get a chance to meet her. This is going to be out of order because I'm going to talk to you about the artist that came for the IAD convention, our International Youth and Young Adult. But apparently I flopped something, and so you're going to hear Little Man sing real quick. Okay, let me go ahead and do that. All right, you know what? I'm a proud mama.
That's the future right there, y'all. Come on, we gotta celebrate them. We gotta lift them up. I'm
proud. Now, I'm not too proud, okay? I'm not too proud. I'm not going to let, pride goeth before destruction, but I'm so proud of my little guy and his voice. And I know that one day if he yields that talent to the Lord, he's going to be used to bless many, many people. Our International Youth and Young Adult Conference was amazing. Not just the concert, which I thought I had more pictures of the backstage of the concert, but maybe they'll show up later. I don't know. But we had some fantastic workshops for our young people. And then we rolled into our Brotherhood Conference, and it was amazing to see the power of God. We rolled into our General Assembly with our awesome military tribute service. I got to teach the young ladies again this year, and we did make a beach trip. Now, the thing about this beach trip is I got introduced to the world of jellyfish in the water. Like literally jellyfish in the water. So what we had to do, because they were all swimming along that near channel, we had to get past them and get out into the deeper water where there was the shallow, and then it kind of went up a little bit, and then it went down again. We had to get past the jellyfish. So coming back from Mobile, my oldest and my husband and the young lady. I don't know if she wants me to give her name online, so that's why I'm not. I never asked her permission. But they all went back early because of jobs, so they all went back to work. And me and Cubby, we spent the rest of the General Assembly in Mobile, and then we went home. And sometimes it's good to listen to wisdom, because I personally like to stay for every last minute. But all of my girlfriends who drove by themselves were like, you took 18 hours to get here. You can't leave at Sunday at 1 o'clock and be on time for work Monday morning. And I was like, I'm going to go. But then the Spirit led me to go ahead and leave early. And we made our way back and stopped and had a great time, praising the Lord, watching the services online, and then eating at fun places. And yes, I even allowed him to have some Kraft mac and cheese. And so then from there, I went back to Montgomery to see my friend's Assumption of Command ceremony over the Barnes Center for Enlisted Education. I can't think of a better leader to be over such an important role as defining and setting direction for our enlisted education. There's a picture of us from our friend group there. I did do the old retiree thing at the commissary of bringing my cooler and shopping and filling my cooler. I forgot to get a picture of the young ladies. I thought I had it, but I couldn't find it. There were two young ladies, beautiful ebony skin, and they were in the law program, two young airmen in the law program to be paralegals. And one was, no, I'm saying that wrong. Some were paralegals, but some were in the track to become lawyers. And I was just so excited to see them in there. And they turned me on to this Thai tea. Y'all know we love some Thai tea up in here. But unfortunately, I didn't get the picture, but I did have my retiree cooler. So I loaded that bad boy up with all kinds of food. And one of the great things about the Maxwell Air Force Base Commissary is because we have so many foreign officers. You know, y'all know I used to teach at Air University. That's how I know this. They have so many foreign officers that come there for education that the commissary has a lot of food from all over the world. And so when you're like me and you grew up in Japan and Germany and you've traveled to the Middle East and you've gone to all these, and you've gone to Korea and all these other places, you like to eat foods from those places. And so it's nice to be able to buy all that and stock up the cooler and then head on back home. And I made the joke post about, yep, I'm officially an old retired fart because I have brought my cooler to the commissary. Oh goodness. It was a great time. My friend had her reception at a place called Montgomery Whitewater, which didn't used to be there. I'm not sure why I put that picture in there. Let's go back. But oh no, I didn't put the picture, but I realized my family would like this, and there were some other fun things. And then I found what I want to be the site for our Juneteenth conference in 2028. And because I was going to announce it, but because I haven't done the negotiations yet, I thought by the time I launched this, I would. I'm not even going to show the pictures. And I momentarily forgot that in my intro. So if you're listening as part of the podcast, you're like, she was going to announce it, but now she's not announcing it. Well, we are probably going to be in Montgomery, Alabama. Now let me rephrase that. We're going to be in Montgomery, Alabama. Whether or not we get the venue that I want, that's going to be up for debate. But we're going to be in Montgomery, Alabama in 2028 for Juneteenth 2028. I'm so excited, y'all. Oh my goodness. And we're going to make a Alabama trip out of it. I imagine, since our church conference is down in Mobile, we'll probably stay in Montgomery for a little bit and do some more sightseeing and stuff rather than driving back and forth. Okay, so then I raced back from this Assumption of Command so that I could be installed as the second vice commander for our American Legion Turnbow Higgs Post 240 here in Stephenville, which was a wonderful night of celebration. And our post won a lot of awards, which was really exciting. And see that rainbow? I don't remember what was happening when it was taken, but it gave me a little bit of smile and strength for what was to come. So that Friday, went back to Dallas, NSA board meeting. Wait, let me go back. That Friday, went back to Dallas, had our NSA board and leadership team retreat. So the board members and their relative teams of leaders that are helping to support one of the largest chapters in the National Speakers Association, we came together to set vision and understand what everybody needs and to look at how we're going to execute for this next year. Fantastic group of leaders. I'm so excited. But at the end of this retreat, my husband brings up the other children. And guess what? We head on a almost 3-week trip across country. We start off at my son's family's family reunion. So this is my son's father's mother's side of the family. And then we decide to drop off his friend his lady friend at her house, and we head to DC, and this is our Airbnb in the DC. You can see we sped up the video a little bit. We had another Airbnb, but they canceled us at the last minute, and this actually worked out really well because this place was cheaper and it was perfect for our family. We found a lot of things like that along the route. Like we planned this, but that happened. We planned that, but this happened. And not just the Airbnb, but we also found a fantastic park right around the corner from the Airbnb. We had intended to go to Great Falls Park, and I was hopeful to hike the Billy Goat Trail. Now, this big belly, I wasn't sure I could make it down that slope because it's only like maybe 1.5 feet or so of rock outcropping to go down. It can be a little scary, and that was maybe about 40 pounds ago before I retired. Now I will say, I'm not going to stand up and show you, but I did not hit 50 by 50. I only hit 20 by 50, but hopefully by the time I finish 50, I'll get the other 30, and so we'll make 50 by 50, or 50 while 50, right? So we're going to, so we were going to go to Great Falls, but the traffic was so bad. I did a search and found this really cool park. I've got this here because that's our bug spray. I guess that's why I put that in. And we used Young Living Purification as our bug repellent. And so we were out there. We found this fantastic little trail, and we had such a good time. Now we did have a little concerns because one, we came across some homeless folks, who didn't strike you as the normal homeless folks. And then we left because people were doing graffiti. We were like, okay, we need to go and call the authorities. But then we found this most delightful Asian market, international market. And when I tell you there was all kinds of everything in there, we had such a good time. And finally, we found the brand of Thai tea that my son has been looking for ever since we were stationed at Barksdale. And whenever I go to Barksdale, I get it. But yeah. They were super happy to have found it. Excuse me for just. Okay. The reason I paused on this bag, this was not the sad moment, but this is representing a sad moment. I was in another store, but there was no good way to take a picture in the other store. I had forgotten in certain markets, and in this case in Maryland, and most of the DC area, you have to pay for bags. And in this situation, not this particular store, but a store previous to this, I go to the store. And there's a lady who is arguing with management that she does not want the bag that their store is requiring her to have. And she's arguing with them about she shouldn't have to buy a bag. And they're like, well, you didn't bring a bag. And she's like, well, just give me my receipt and let me carry the merchandise out. She only had 1 or 2 items. I personally don't understand why they didn't just let her do that. But she was arguing. She's like, look, I've got bills to pay, and I am on a strict budget. Let me say that again. She was like, look, I've got bills to pay, and I'm on a strict budget, and I cannot afford these bags. I have just enough for the things that I came to buy. And once she got the manager involved and they decided to take the bags off of her order, I'm sitting there thinking, how much are these bags? So I asked the lady at the counter, because they asked me, did I bring bags or do I want a bag for my purchase? And I was like, well, how much are the bags? And a bag was 14 cents. And it took me back to the time when I was $800 and something thousand in debt. And I too would have been arguing about 14 cents, because 14 cents would have made the difference between whether or not I bought that or didn't buy it. And all I could do in that moment when this other lady had already walked away and I'm paying for my thing, all I could do is sit in gratitude and say, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, that I'm in a position that it doesn't matter how much the bag costs. I thank the Lord that I'm no longer in a position where 14 cents matters that much. But I'll never forget that time. And if you're struggling to make it, I want you to know that it doesn't last always. Things do get better, especially when you put sound financial principles in place. All right, then the boys got to ride the Metro, which my oldest has done many times, but my little one, we moved away before he really rode a lot of Metro. Funny story at the White House. So we're there at the White House, and all of a sudden we notice a big commotion, and apparently the band is playing. The president is receiving foreign dignitaries from many countries for a special event. Of course, we had to be silly with our sightseeing, and we had a great old time. We hit the African American Museum, and the boys got to sit at the replica of the Montgomery. Let me roll that back. Okay. We went to the African American Museum, and then the boys got to sit at a replica of the Montgomery I cannot speak to save my life today. They got to sit at a replica of the Montgomery, not Montgomery. Why do I keep saying Montgomery? It's Greensboro. My goodness, what is wrong with me? Okay, because we got Montgomery on the mind from Juneteenth. So they got a chance to see. They got a chance to sit at the replica of the lunch counter in Greensboro, where the protests against whites only service began, and it was so powerful to sit at that counter, and it was just one of those things where they were like, yeah, the president's trying to get rid of this, but our boss fought for us to keep it, and I hope that they do get to keep it, because some things bring an energy, and there's a power and an energy. And we think it's just a thing, but actually there's energy behind the thing, and there's energy behind what goes into the thing, and there's energy behind the people who were involved in the thing. And when you sit down and participate in the thing, or when you put on the clothing of the thing, or when you begin to do the action of the thing, you actually imbibe yourself in the energy of that thing. And so it was very, very powerful. This picture of my son was also very, very powerful for me, because some of y'all might have seen it as an old cover photo. Back before this was created, this museum was created, there was a tribute to Martin Luther King Jr., where I had him standing in front of it in the same pose, and it's got the same quote as is on this wall here. So, and of course, my little one wanted to be involved also, so he got his picture in front of his quote as well. Then we went to the National History, and it's interesting. The African American Museum was real heavy, and so it was good to end on a happy note with the gemstones and the dinosaurs, and we had a good time. Then we went to eat at one of my favorite restaurants, Old Ebbitt Grill. Okay. And then we made our way up. To New Jersey. We made a pit stop in Baltimore so that we could have a little bit of noon prayer at Baltimore Worship Center. And we were too late for noon prayer, so we just prayed in our car, and then we went around the corner and ate at one of my favorite places in Baltimore, which is Grilled Cheese and Company. And I got the Krabby Patty. Oops, too fast. And then we headed up to Mount Holly, New Jersey for my family's family reunion. You can see the kids here with their cousins, my brother's children. And they taught us how to do Snapchat videos. So all of us old folks got some education on Snapchat, which was fun. I really enjoyed hanging out with my nephews, but apparently all the festivities really wore out the little guy because he kept having to take naps, and honestly, so did I. All right. So then we went to the family reunion, and this was at my mom's cousin Peggy. And it's funny because I remember cousin Peggy when she visited us in California, and she brought me clothes. And so I liked her because she brought us clothes, and we had so much fun. One of the cool things that my mom did for the family reunion is she made pins for each of us that showed who we were in the family. And in this picture that everybody always shows in the family reunion page and everything, she put a little arrow there to her mom. Can't really see it that well. All right. But then she listed who we are, who we're married to, who our kids are. And so everybody in the family got one of these, which I thought was super cool. And I definitely want to do something like this if I'm ever planning a family reunion. But let me not confuse the issue. I have no interest in planning anybody's family reunion. That's a lot of work, and I'm not interested in doing that much work. But this was so cool. It was great to see. It was great to see the family. It was great for my little one to see his cousins. And if you're listening on the podcast, make sure you go on YouTube so you can see the pin that my mom made. Okay. Because I think you'll enjoy seeing the visuals of these. It was really great for my little one to meet some cousins. Then we went up the Lehigh Valley Tunnel to Wilkes-Barre. Well, technically Exeter first, and then we went to Wilkes-Barre. We started off, y'all, I don't know why I did not get a picture of the pizza. Let me tell you something. Pizza loving. If you are ever in the Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Exeter, that area of PA, you need to stop at Pizza Lovin'. It is fried pizza crust with pizza goodness on top. Worth every calorie and worth breaking my neurology protocol. I had somebody else to drive, so I was like, I'm getting all the calories on this trip, which is crazy because I actually lost weight on the trip, even though I was eating all these calories. All right. Pizza Lovin' was so good. We went to my Auntie Anne's house so that we could have dessert and just kind of hang out as a family. And then the next day we went to meet my Aunt Seal. Okay. We went to meet my Aunt Seal. Hold on. There she is. We went to meet my Aunt Seal, who is just amazing woman. And every time I see her, I learn something new. We had a very interesting discussion about what this is. So if you can tell me what this is, if you are the first person to tell me what this is, then you can drop your Cash App and I'll send you a little something, because we had a good debate about it. We were house divided, and surprise, surprise, all the ladies were wrong. My stepdad got it correct. If you know what this is, let's play a little game. You let me know what you think this is. All right. And so from there, we hung out as a family. We got to see some sights, went to Jaridy's, the best deli in the whole area. I loved hanging out with my nephews and my sons. My mom took us. Now, this is really cool. This is Monarch Park, and this is normally a ski resort. This is a ski resort. So wait, I think you can see the ski lifts. Can you see the ski lifts? I think you can see some in the background over there. Not that line of lights, but because those are lights, but there's ski lifts back there. Hold on, go back. This is a ski resort. And let me see if I can pause the video where I think there might be. Okay, way back there you can see the ski lifts. Okay, you're gonna have to use it. You can probably see it on your phone. What they do, this is crazy. So I asked them, I was like, well, what do you do with all this equipment? She's like, oh, we fill it in with snow. Our base layer covers all of this. All of this water park. So there's my son with his cousins. I had to switch to Curly after that. Then we went that night. We went to the Blue Ribbon Dairy. Y'all, again, worth the calories. Worth the calories. It was so much fun. I don't even think what did I get? I got something different from everybody else. Y'all know I got to be kind of extra, but it was so good. Whatever I got, whatever everybody else got, there was nothing left over, y'all. Nothing left over. Now, I'm not exactly sure in the timeline, but at some point we went to my auntie's store. This is called A Touch of Islet. I think it's in Exeter, or is it in Pittston? I think it's in Exeter. Yeah, because she lives in Exeter. Okay. That's my auntie in the middle there. And I got a lot of fat on my face, but I look like my auntie and my sister looks like my mom. When you see pictures of them when they were little, they look like pictures of me and my sister, just a little bit lighter skinned. And this is my sister-in-law, Viviana. She's got a very interesting Etsy store if you like cool crystally things. Not decor, but like crystals. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so she has a store. It's called A Touch of Islet. And all these years, I thought it was a Christmas store. It's really an all seasons decor store. And had I been local, I saw so many things that I might like to try in my office. But I'm not at that phase yet. And most of the things I liked in her shop, my sons, plural, would break. So nope, not in that dispensation yet. But there's so much cute things there. So if you're ever in the area, stop by and visit. Then y'all, okay, so look, we're up there in this area where you got all these Italian places. You got all these like cheesesteaks and pizza and things like that. And out of nowhere is Empanada King. I don't even know how we found it. It might have been in the shopping center with the Garrity's, because like I'm telling you, we went Garrity's. I think it was Garrity's. Oh my goodness, I said it wrong. Anyway, Garrity's. Wait. Let me go back. Garrity's. Wait, come back. Garrity's, the best deli ever. So anyway, I think it was in the shopping center there because we went there every day, y'all. But there's this place called the Empanada King. Wherever it is, y'all, those are some of the best empanadas I have ever tasted. Okay, and then we went to Steamtown, which is the shirt I'm wearing today. My brother works at Steamtown National Historic Site, and it's all about the steam engines. Okay, it's all about the old culture of the steam engines, and it's where my new sign up here, I change these out every so often. That's where my new sign came from. Okay, and so we got to see all about learn all about the steam engines and how they worked and what they do. We get to see a real life the roundhouse, where they come in, they turn around and back into their spots and stuff. We got to go inside different ones, and it was so cool. Like, this is like one of the old fashioned travel, where they would sit and, wash and things like that. I mean, it was just such a neat tour. And to see my brother in his element where he works was awesome. Now, this young man, let me go back to it. You can't hear it, but I did get his verbal permission on film to film him. Okay. This young man is a volunteer. We got to get on it. It's got to get there. Oh, okay. Nope, not there. No, keep going. I love that picture. Okay. This young man is actually a volunteer. And I have his verbal permission on video to film him explaining it to us. They are testing some of these older trains. And you can see how it's kind of hard to see, but you can zoom in. You can screenshot and zoom in. They've blocked off each of these chassis, or whatever you call the outer housing of the engine of the steam train or the car or whatever it is that they're testing, because they're testing a bunch of them. They've blocked them off in grids, and they're doing non-destructive inspection on each one. And so they're testing each grid, and that's what he's doing. And he's a volunteer, which I thought was phenomenal, because, okay, let me get back to him, which I thought was phenomenal, because whoever knew that you could do such cool work and be a volunteer. So if there's things that you like to do and you don't have the ability to do as much as you want, or you don't have the stamina with which to work a full-time job, you might consider doing something like this and volunteering something like this. They take the volunteers and train them, and you work as much as you can. Okay. Now, this other thing was hilarious to me, because throughout our entire trip, we kept seeing these bugs, and we did not know that they were an invasive species. So that's why I put that on there. And of course, once we saw that, we didn't see too many of them. So there you go. But then we had Wednesday night was lobster night. Yeah, Wednesday night was lobster night. I'm pretty sure that was Wednesday. I can't remember. Y'all, the days all bled together. But this is my older brother, Brian, and his wife, Wanda. This is their restaurant. It's the 279 grill. And I tell you what, the atmosphere is on point. The menu, there's Wanda. Hi. They've got a game room and a rentable room. So this isn't a rent room in the back that you can rent for events. The menu is on point. It's amazing. The mocktails were on point. And I said, Philip, what did you get? He said, I just asked them to give me whatever you got. We had such a great time. The trivia was on point. Oh my goodness. The desserts were on point. I don't even think I got a dessert because I think I was full of my lobster. The desserts were on point. This picture cracks me up because my mom was like, Janine, that's my given name. Janine's got her 2 boys. Jason's got his 2 boys, and I've got my two husbands. I thought that was kind of funny. This was such a great trip, though. And I really do thank my mom for let me go back onto her, because I don't thank my family enough. But this trip was really a wonderful trip, and I thank my mom for making this part of the trip happen. And so one thing that I meant to put in here and somehow deleted was the peach. They have peach wings. And when we got home, we figured out how to make some peach wings, hot wings, but a peach and a hot honey. Oh my goodness, it was so good. But I do really appreciate that my mom and my brother who lives up there, and my aunties and everybody who lives up there, who just made this such a great trip for all of us. My younger brother coming in with his family from Georgia, and then me coming in with the boys while Mr. Mann had band camp. It was just a wonderful trip, and I really enjoyed it. After dinner, we went to my mom's first husband's house, and we got to look at the cars that him and my older brother race. So the boys were excited about that, especially this one. Y'all know this one's been a gearhead since he was 4 years old watching Daytona 500, right? And so I'm just excited. Then we got to just hang out as a family. This, my friends, is watermelon presented 2 ways. That's right. Let me go back. I made these too short. This is watermelon 2 ways. Then we left PA and we started driving home, and we got to visit Uncle Billy and Aunt Marlene, and they are my husband's uncle and auntie. We happened to just visit on his mother's side, and we happened to be passing through, and I was like, hey, are you guys home? Can we stop for a quick visit? Now keep in mind, I was just wanting to get on the road. It had been a long trip, and we had a very bad hotel that night. And so when we saw the family, they wanted us to stay a little bit, and they wanted to be hospitable with us. And Uncle Billy was telling me about his gun collection, which, he's got a pretty, if you haven't seen it on my Facebook, you have to go. He posted a picture of it on his Facebook, but he's got an impressive firearm collection. And I enjoyed talking to him about it. I don't fire weapons anymore since the car accident, although I do from time to time just to see if I can handle it again. And I haven't been able to really do that like I used to. So that's one of those things that I still like talking to people about. And I look forward to, thankful that my husband still can. Sometimes I know a lot of people out there, you're not really big on firearms, but there are situations where it's really very handy to either have a weapon on you or be with somebody who has a weapon on you. And I think about COVID, like early into COVID, when somebody was accosted in the Sam's Club parking lot during the day. That's how desperate people were for toilet paper, of all things, right? And so it's just a way of life out in these country areas. And so it was lots of fun to visit with them. But I was in such a rush. I was like, we really can't stay. They loaded us up with drinks and snacks, and we got on our way. And then about 2 hours later, I was like, you know what? Hey, wait a second. Where's the picture of Uncle Whit? Oh no. I'm talking to my little one as if he knows. Oh no, did I not get it? Okay.
No?
Oh,
Yes.
I've got Uncle Billy in there twice.
What?
Oh, oops. Okay, well, we're gonna go back and forth, okay? We're gonna go back and forth. Okay, so there's Uncle Billy, and then I said Uncle Whit because I'm talking to my little one who's still supposed to be asleep, but he's over here watching. This is my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, one of their sons, Taylor, and then us. So they're a couple hours away, and I was just like, you know what? I'm feeling it. We're not gonna be able to press through as far as I wanted to go. And so we're like, hey, what are y'all doing for dinner? And they were like, hey, we're trying to figure that out. Our dinner plans just got canceled. And so we went out to dinner, and it was absolutely wonderful. And it was a wonderful time. Despite the fact that we were all tired and somewhat dirty from our morning adventure. So let me tell you about the morning adventure, which somehow got mixed up in the video. But I am not going to redo the video because it's not that important. Okay, let's see. So the morning of this, not only did we wake up after staying in one of the worst hotels we've ever stayed in, and somebody else paid $700 to stay in that hotel that night because of some baseball thing, and it was just a hot mess. We found out en route to that hotel that the trail doesn't use the Virginia Creeper. This is going so much longer than I intended it to go. I guess I really enjoyed the trip. And you know what? Now I'm beginning to be glad that Facebook takes down some of the lives after a month, right? No, seriously, I will edit this and we'll make it into a podcast, and hopefully it won't be 50 minutes. But en route, leaving PA, when heading home to Texas, we knew we were going to pass through the area of Virginia where the Creeper Trail is. And with that, I was excited to do the Virginia Creeper Trail. It's something we had done with my husband a couple times. And the last time I had done it, the little guy was maybe 6 or so months old. And so he rode in one of those baby carriers attached to the, not a seat carrier, but like a wagon with a tent on it kind of carrier attached to the back of the bike. Well, it turns out they don't do training wheels. So I was like, oh, well, we better get you in practice riding a bike because that's kind of pricey and it's a fair amount of work, and it is downhill, but we don't know that you're going to be able to do that. Well, couple things happened with that. I said, let's stop at Walmart. So we stop at Walmart and we're like, okay, practice riding a bike. We're just going to practice and practice. We practiced for about an hour riding a bike at Walmart. And then we went a few more hours on our drive and we stopped for a snack in another Walmart and rode another bike. And so this was his first time riding a bike without training wheels. And then we get out of the second Walmart, and oh, y'all couldn't see that. Let me go back. We get out of the second Walmart and the lights are going crazy. I don't know if y'all can see that. The lights are flickering. And so I'm like, oh, this is a crazy day. Glad we're done. I still don't know if we're going to be able to do it, but let's just go ahead and give it a try. So then I call the guy at the Virginia Creeper Trail at the Blue Blaze bike rental that has served my family very well for a number of years whenever we've ridden this trail. And I'm like, yeah, so we want to do the part of the trail that's basically downhill, because I think if it's downhill, he'll be good to go. And they're like, you didn't hear? You didn't hear about the big hurricane that took out Asheville, North Carolina, and all parts of this area too? And apparently in that big hurricane, it slid off many of the bridges that make up the Virginia Creeper Trail. So that part of the course was not available. It's like a 16-mile, mostly downhill and some flat, but mostly downhill ride, whereas the other part goes down and up. And so I said, well, look, are you guys really, really busy today? Because they weren't very busy. And I guess I should make me bigger on this so you can see me. I was like, are y'all busy today? And he's like, well, we're not really that busy. I was like, I'll pay the full price, but could you drop us off at the top and meet us halfway? I think it was Alvarado. Could you meet us halfway before it goes back up so that our ride is basically all downhill? Because the little guy, this is his first time really riding any length without training wheels, and I'm just a little concerned. Not only did they agree to that, but when we got there, David worked with my son so that he could get some riding on a bike and feel confident without having the training wheels. And y'all, we were so excited. We were so excited to get on this trail. Do you know my little guy ended up doing 9 miles? That's how long our part of the trail was 9 miles. And at the end of it, he was going so fast, he was going away from me. And I'm so proud of him. We got very, very muddy and very, very dirty. And then after that, we went to visit with Uncle Billy. And then after that, I got so tired, even though what I should have done, hold on, let me back up. Let me back up to Uncle Billy. What I should have done is realize that their offers of hospitality were the Spirit trying to tell us, we're tired, take a break. But I was like, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. And then we get on, we get to tour their church. We get to see the feeding the cats. We have a wonderful discussion. It's such a good time. But I'm like, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. They load us refreshments and snacks. And so we head on down the road, and it wasn't even, we weren't even an hour outside of town where I was like, I need a break. And so we find out that Chris's brother, that's my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and their son, one of their sons, they were along the route as well. They were along the route home. And I was like, what are y'all doing for dinner? And they're like, oh, we're not doing anything. We had plans and they fell through. So now you're our plans. And we went out to dinner. They treated us to a wonderful, wonderful meal. And even though we were kind of tired and not minty fresh for sure from the road, it was still a really good time of fellowship. And so then we went home, got to stop at Buc-ee's anytime we find one, right? And we finally get back to Stephenville, and y'all, the donut place. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I don't remember what the donut place is called. Is it the 7-Day Donuts? Which donut place is it? No, I don't even.
Stephenville?
The one with the new teas.
That's Donut Palace.
Is that Donut Palace?
That is Donut Palace, Stephenville, Texas.
Donut Palace. Okay, I don't want to give the wrong donut place.
Donut Palace, Stephenville, Texas.
Donut Palace, Stephenville, Texas. You know what? All this time, I did not realize they had a Facebook page. And so, okay. Boy, people are really posting their pictures. Yep. Okay, so let me go back, okay? So we finally make it back to Stephenville for the summer. The rest of the trip was pretty uneventful. We finally make it back to Stephenville for the summer, and there's so many changes, okay? So one of the Cold Smokes is closing. There's new places that have opened up. We've got a new coffee place. It's kind of like, it's called Seven Brew. We've got a new little Cielo Mexican place. We've got just all kinds of things that have just popped up overnight, feels like to me, and some places that have changed. So now the donut place, the palace, the Donut Palace, they now have drinks, and they stay open later to serve those drinks. And one of those drinks that they have is Thai tea. Y'all know me and my oldest, we love some Thai tea. Now, I will say, I love their Thai tea. It's very good. It's very well made. Oh, there's the chicken wings. Oh my goodness. Okay, when I edit this for the podcast, I'm going to have to edit this back with the rest of the trip. So we came home from the trip, and because we enjoyed so much the peach wings at my brother and sister-in-law's restaurant, we came home and figured out how to make our own peach wings. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I really did enjoy seeing the Donut Palace Thai tea. It's very, very good. I will say, however, let me get to that one. I will say that tea to go is still my favorite tea in town. And we've got to give props out to my son's favorite, my little one's favorite tea place in town, HTO. And then I got to tell you, I'm going to have to do, oh, it's not playing. Oh, no. It's playing over. No, I want the Thai place. Is the Thai place not in here? Oh, no. The Pattaya Thai. I don't see them in here. Oh, I'm not going to leave them hanging like that. Hold on. Let me see if I see them. There's the tea to go. There's the HTO. Nope, it's not doing it. Okay, so y'all going to have to forgive me because I can't talk about Thai tea without talking about not leave studio. Let me remove that one and let me bring them up, okay? So Pattaya Thai, Pattaya.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me share this screen as soon as it comes up here. Okay, because this is the end of our trip. Oh, there it is. Oh, wait. Is that us with the Thai tea? Yeah, there we go. Let me see if I can make that bigger. All right. I know this is crazy. Some of y'all like, I came for a financial podcast, and she is talking about Thai tea. But you know what? When you like something, when you enjoy it, you want to share it. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, share. All righty. So there we go. So for me, no discussion of Thai tea in Stephenville can be complete without the Pattaya Thai, because that's my favorite Thai tea in town. But now that we have some new competitors on the scene, we've got the Vietnamese food truck, we've got the Palace Donuts, or the Donut Palace. We may have to do a battle of the Stephenville sweet Thai tea. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I said that all messed up. Because we did the battle of the Stephenville sweet tea, but we may have to go down and do the battle of the Stephenville Thai tea. I'm so excited for all the great changes in the town over the summer. I really enjoyed our family trip. When we were at the water park, I did need to do a few hours of work, and my son was like, "Ma, why are you working? You were supposed to be on vacation." And I'm like, "I haven't worked in 6 weeks. I kind of need to put some time in, you know." And I really hope that everybody watching me, that one day you're going to be like, "Oh my goodness, that I can just structure my life and my business so that I can take that kind of time off and spend the time making memories with the family." You know, I've had a lot of weirdness of health wise, and I just remember that health and strength is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. Even if you're alive, you may not have your health and strength. So I'm going to make the memories I can make while I'm able to make them. And so if you've been listening all this time, I want to thank you for listening about my family travel. And now I'm going to take a quick drink here and mute myself and take a quick drink. And then I'm going to reset so that I can answer some questions. And we're going to talk about top 7 ways to make an extra $1,000 a month. We're going to talk also about the rental car scams. Now, you may have seen my video on this already, but I did promise I would talk about it on a Thursday night, and I don't think I ever did. And then we're going to talk about the rental car scams, and then we're going to talk about some new job scams, which I think we talked about last week, but I want to make sure that we've covered them all. Yes, we did talk about last week, so I'm not going to talk about those today, okay? But every time I turn around, there's another scam coming out. So we'll talk. We got plenty of scams in the queue for me to share with you, all right? If you have a question, go ahead and while I'm getting something to drink, real quick, if you have a question, go ahead and drop it in the chat, because I want to answer every question that you have, and I have a list of questions here. And we'll do that after we do the top 7 ways to make an extra $1,000 a month. All right, everybody, I want to welcome you back to Ladies of Wealth podcast. If you're just joining us, we do our live classes on Thursday nights, and we turn them into the podcast that come out 2 to 3 times a week, depending on the content and how long we end up filming. If you like to get things raw and be the first to hear it, we encourage you to join us live every Thursday night. Our first Thursdays are always our Fireside chat, where I answer your questions with style and grace. This particular Thursday, I spent some time talking about our summer travel. I usually like to summarize our travel when I get back from the summer break. And then we're going to talk about some Q&A that you have. Our second Thursdays are our 7-figure business building. We look at how to add multiple streams of income to your life and keep them aligned with your life so they don't take over your life. Every third Thursday, we talk about real estate investing, which is one of my favorite ways to build and maintain wealth. And then every fourth Thursday, we do our empowered entrepreneur. Who do you need to become to receive the things that you want out of life, to attract the things that you want out of life, and to stop repelling the things that you truly want out of life? And so that's always a lot of fun. Our fifth Thursdays are typically wild cards, and we hope that you can join us for all of the Thursdays. We are going to be better about getting earlier. We are going to be better about being earlier in the day. This one, it took so long for that video to compile with all the family travels. I didn't account for that in my setup, so that was my mistake. But we want to welcome you back, and we're going to continue the thought that we had earlier, talking about the family travel. And now we're going to talk about the top 7 ways to make an extra $1,000 a month. Okay. So one of the questions that I have in here today, let me just see how many questions I have. Okay. Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, so one of the questions that I have is, how can I make an extra $1,000 a month? Now, before I answer the question, how can I make an extra $1,000 a month? The first thing I'm going to ask you back as a financial planner and a financial coach is going to be why. Why do you need an extra $1,000 a month? Don't get me wrong. I think all of us would like an extra $1,000 a month. However, when we understand why we need what we need, or why we're pursuing the goals we're pursuing, it brings clarity as to the best way to accomplish that goal. So, for example, if you are deep in debt and you can't really seem to dig your way out of it without some extra money every month, that's a different skill set and a different path than if you are somebody who can make it every month, but you really would like to have some breathing room. Or that pathway, and that pathway is different for somebody who can make it, and you have enough extra to pay into investments and things like that. But maybe you want to start a business, or you want to travel, or you want to do something more fun with the money as opposed to living with the money. Well, then that's going to be a different path. So if you're looking for, how can I make an extra $1,000 a month so that I can pay down debt? My first question is going to be, can you afford to pay the bills that you have? And if you can't afford to pay all your bills, I want you to go to my YouTube channel and search for Pro Rata Plan. That's PRORATA, PRO-RATA. Pro Rata Plan that helps you prioritize your spending and stop the bleed, stop digging the debt hole much bigger, and find a plan, a proven plan that works to get yourself out of that debt. Even before we start making the extra money, you still have to make a commitment to stop making it worse. See, this is the missing ingredient that a lot of us have when it comes to money. The very first thing we've got to commit to when it comes to making money, lasting wealth building is to stop spending more than we make. In fact, you might remember the great investor Warren Buffett. One of his big things, the secret to building wealth, is very simple. Spend less than you make and invest the rest. 100% of the time, that plan works for 100% of the people who work that plan. And so we want to stop digging the hole deeper. We want to stop growing in debt, and we want to take action aligned with our commitment to only spending what we have. And if you don't have enough, then you don't pay enough. We're done with the days of robbing Peter to pay Paul, because at some point, that is going to be a day of reckoning, and it's going to make life worse. We don't want to make life worse. We want to make life better. Okay. And so then if you can pay your bills and you need an extra $1,000 a month, I'm going to share the top 7 ways that I recommend. Okay. But before we get to that, if you make enough to barely pay your bills, okay, but you have a lot of debt and you feel like I can't dig out of this debt because I can barely pay my bills, well, then we sit down together and we look at your wealth management. How are you managing the resources that are provided to you? I have had people making over $100,000 every month who were broke. I have had people making only $400 a month who were living a full life. It is not always about what you make. It is about how you spend what you make and the resources that you reach out to, or support system that you build around you when you don't have what you should have, or you don't have what you want to have, or you don't have what you need to have. But every step of the way, you got to stop spending more than you make, okay? Now, if you're looking to make an extra $1,000 a month because you need some breathing room, you're out of debt, you're making it, but you're kind of paycheck to paycheck. And, you kind of feel like you work so hard. I ought to be able to take a trip sometimes. I ought to be able to have a little control. I ought to be able to take a day off or relax a little bit or buy myself something nice. Again, we're going to look at your spend plan. Oh, nobody wants to dig into the spend plan, but generally speaking, if you have never gone through the process of prioritizing your spending and really writing down your spending and comparing month to month what you said you were going to spend versus what you were going to spend. Wait, let me just back that up even. How few of us, very rarely do we ever actually plan our money before we get it? That's one of the biggest keys to spending less than you make, is planning your money before you get it. Now, one quick thing I want to mention on the debt. If you're trying to get out of debt, you're trying to pay down debt. If you are, how do I want to say it? A lot of debts can be negotiated. And a lot of debts don't have to be paid right this moment. Oh, they make you feel like it. Oh, they send you these nasty emails. They send you these nasty texts. If you get them on the phone. I remember one time, this one bill collector, they had me in tears. And my Philip's father takes the phone and he tells them to leave his wife alone. And they were like, what kind of man are you that doesn't pay your, they lit into him. And they started having a match. Their whole point is to get you all up in your feels, and you'll do anything to stop the pain. And in order to stop the pain, you'll find a way to pay them. You may not be able to pay your rent tomorrow, but at least they got their money, and that's all they care about. They don't care about the fact that your children need a place to sleep. So when you're in that kind of a situation, it's very important to prioritize your spending and make sure that what gets paid is the things that need to get paid, and they get paid first. Your housing, your basic food, your basic transportation, basic clothing, things like that get taken care of first. Your housing and your utilities, so you have a place to live and you have food to eat and you have transportation to work, right? You make sure those things are taken care of first, and then we worry about everybody else, okay? So going back to the person with the breaking even. So maybe, excuse me. And again, if you are listening to me as part of the podcast and then you came to watch the full video because you wanted to see all the fun pictures from the travel, and you're like, wow, she has so many starts and stops that get edited out of the podcast. Why, yes, I do. That's why the podcast is not just a chop of that's why the podcast doesn't just magically appear the day after all of these, because there's a little bit of editing to overcome my faux pas. Anyway, so if you need an extra $1,000 a month because you can pay your bills, you're not in debt, you can pay off, I'm not a big fan of credit cards, but if you've got one, you pay it off every month. It's not that you can't pay your bills. You just want to have some breathing room left at the end of the month. You want to have some extra money to save up for a special trip or a special birthday dinner, or you just want to be able to take some time off and not be worried that you're hamstringing your financial future. Like you feel like you work so hard. You shouldn't be this broke. You should have something for how hard you work. And I understand exactly how that feels. And if you're in that situation, I'm going to share with you my top 7 ways of how to make an extra $1,000 a month fairly quickly. However, I am going to say, let's look at that spend plan. Let's look at what you're doing, and let's look at prioritizing. One of the key ingredients to that spend plan, y'all, you already heard me say it before. I'm going to say it again. Chart out what you're going to spend before you get the money in hand. Give every dollar a name. Give every dollar a job. Control your money so that you are in charge of your money. There's a phrase that Dave Ramsey likes to say, and I guess, what do they say? You use it 3 times and then it's yours. And he likes to say, tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Well, I'm telling you today, tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. You tell it where to go before you get the money in hand. And it makes a huge difference in being able to free up other money so that you can pursue your dreams and your goals. Okay. Now let's talk about the people who are in the category where they're doing all right. They've not only can pay their bills, they live a nice life. They get a bison steak every now and then, and they have plenty of money that they are putting into investments for the future. They're investing 15 to 20% of their income. They're out of debt. They got adequate insurance. I mean, they got all the things done. But they're like, hey, I'd like some extra money in my pocket. I've reached this part of my life. I'd like to travel more. I'd like to invest more. There's different ways to handle that. Okay. And so a lot of times there are intangibles, and it depends on our resources, our health, our strength, our availability, our family commitments, our work commitments, our fill in the blank. Okay. And so, if you're in that category, there's 2 things that I'm going to want you to consider. I'm going to want you to consider sitting down with me for a business consult. I actually have them out on my Calendly page, which would have been nice for me to have built a banner. It's calendly.com/JJ Conway. There's one out there that says, is this business right for me? And it's a quick consult. We sit down for about half an hour. We go through the business you're thinking about starting. I ask you some specific questions, and we underline areas that are this area represents strength for you, opportunities for you, and threats for you. And then we come to a conclusion on whether or not this is a good use of your time and money in the short term, in the long term. We also have another one that if you've already decided on a business, it's a 2-hour hands-on with me, where at the end of that, you have a whole business plan. Like, we can sit down and do that. But I don't want you going into business for yourself when you can't pay your bills. JJ, don't you know that being able to go into business for myself is going to help me get out of debt? Listen, Linda. If you have never run a business yourself, you are going to be amazed at how much it takes to become an entrepreneur and get your business up off the ground. I know everybody and their brother wants to sell you on this bill of goods that if you just take their program, if you just press their easy button, that you're going to be able to, you just take their course, you buy into their program, you buy into their platform, you're going to be able to push an easy button and spit out money anytime you want. Boom, boom, boom. Guess what? It doesn't work like that. The only people who got an easy button spitting out money is the people who are taking your money when you buy their course, buy their book, buy into their platform. And I'm not saying those things don't work, but when you can't pay your bills, that's not where your money needs to go. You do need to make extra money, but you don't need to take the time to get an entrepreneurial thing off the ground. Yes, this person did a testimonial. They made $100,000 with one of those easy things. They just had to pay $500 a month. You know, I got these ads on Facebook, not Facebook, on YouTube. And I started watching some of them just so I could see what it is they're offering and what it is they're asking. And I'm not going to tell you the product, but there was one of these that's like, oh yeah, we're going to have AI create this thing for you and you're going to be able to make all this money off this thing. And then they walked through, well, you know, if you upgrade, you get this. And if you upgrade this, and you upgrade this, and you upgrade that. And what they're telling you, if you read between the lines, is this free, amazing thing that's going to make you financially free is actually going to cost you about $1,500 a month. And if you would have brought that to the business thing for me, you wouldn't have been out your money because I would have already analyzed it for you and told you this was not going to work the way you think it is. Not that it couldn't work, but if you didn't have the seed money to make it work in the first place, it wasn't going to work for you. Woo, I said a lot more than I meant to on that, okay? The other thing that I want to say on the category for people who, let me just say that again. I can tell I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. The other thing that I want to say on the category of people who have extra, you know, they want to make a little extra. They got their bills paid. They've got their investments going. They're good on that. They've got their retirement plans working. They got the proper insurances going. Those folks, there may be alternate ways to get to where you want to go. So for example, I have people come tell me a lot, oh, I want extra money so I can travel. I want extra money so I can go see the world. I want extra money so I can go here and go there. And I love that. I love to travel, so I'm all about it. Well, you might find that there are easier ways than starting a business to accomplish that goal. For example, I know somebody who was a colleague of mine in the military, and oh, you're kidding me. Oh, I gotta pause, y'all. Have we already been? Yeah, we've been an hour and a half. We were supposed to be done. Look, we were supposed to be done half an hour ago. Hang on. Okay, good. We're back. Okay, so in talking about this category of people who want extras, I know somebody, excuse me, I know somebody who is a colleague of mine in the Air Force who's, oh, I shouldn't say that. Well, I already did. Okay, I know somebody who was a colleague of mine one time who their spouse worked for the airline. Is that the best place in the world to work? Well, it's not really the best place in the world to work, but you know what I am not saying this very well. I am so sorry. So their spouse worked for the, let me start over. I know somebody who really loves to travel. And rather than starting a travel business or earning extra money for travel, what they decided to do was his spouse worked for the airline. She worked the counter and did all the things. Well, with that job came free standby travel. And so they were steady gone. Almost every weekend, they were gone to some other place, and they would take long vacations and things like that, as much as you could earn working as a government worker. But they would take vacations and never paid for. And so there may be other ways to get what you want once you quantify why it is you want what you want. You know, another example of that is someone who wanted a really, really, really big house. And when you ask, well, why do you want a really, really, really big house? Well, I want to have a house that has enough room for all of my children and their children. Well, why do you want a house that has enough room for your children and their children? Well, I think it would be fun for all of us to live together. And I'm like, this was not my client. This was not my client. This was one of my mentor's clients. I was just kind of like, but really, when it came down to it, what this person really wanted was they wanted to make family memories. And you're not, I mean, you could, but what a more effective thing rather than buying this humongous mansion with your kids. How about take that money and put it into family trips? Okay. So it's important to understand why we want what we want, because sometimes the what we want is incongruent with the why, or sometimes the what we want could be better done. That's not how I want to say it. Sometimes what we want, I want an extra $1,000 a month, answers a need that could be better answered another way. That's a better way to say it, right? Yeah. Okay. I like that. All right. So with that said, top 7 ways to earn an extra $1,000 a month if you really needed to. Number 7, and I was really surprised that this made the list. So this is not my list. This is not my list. This list comes. I forgot to write down the source, y'all. Well, we'll have to find it and put it in the show notes, okay, when we turn this into the podcast. The number 7 in the top 7 ways to earn $1,000 a month was donate plasma. I honestly didn't know you could still do that. I don't even know if I'd want to do that. You know, I just really don't trust medical anymore. I mean, I trust them when I need to, and I pray. But yes, donate plasma. The next one on the list is pet services. So pet walking, pet watching, pet sitting, either day to day or on vacations. Also, y'all have heard me talk about this before. It did not get mentioned in this list, but because I've known people who have done this, I am adding it to this pet services, and that is out of people's yards. People pay big money to not have to step on poop when they go out to barbecue in their backyard. And they will pay you to literally go out there and scoop the poop out of their yard, however often they want you to do it. Okay. I know people who have literally stopped working for anybody else and just pay their bills and are financially secure off of pooper scooping. Okay. Number 5 on this list is of ways to earn, top 7 ways to earn an extra $1,000 each month is to mow people's yards. And I thought it was really neat because I would definitely pay somebody to mow my yard if I didn't have Mr. Man mowing our yard, right? Because I can mow my yard, but my time is better spent. Listen, for the job that I would do, and the time it would take, my time is so much better spent paying somebody else to do it, right? So mowing somebody's yard. Bonus if you use their equipment. Now that's even better. Like when you're getting started and you don't have your own lawnmower, bonus, hey, I'll use your equipment. Okay, if you're going to start mowing people's yards, and if you're going to tell your kids or your teenagers or your young ones, your young adults to start mowing people's yards, remind them to watch out for the sprinkler system. Okay, Okay, because you don't want to eat up all your profits replacing sprinkler parts. Number 4 on the list of top 7 ways to earn an extra $1,000 this month. I love this one. I would actually rank this a little bit higher, but it does take work to ramp it up to the $1,000 a month point, and that is affiliate sales. The thing about affiliates, y'all have heard me say it millions of times, but in case you're new to me, I want to make sure I say it today. I do not believe in paying for affiliates services unless you are paying money you would spend. So if I am going to be an affiliate for Amazon, Amazon does not charge me to be an affiliate. Amazon has a free program. I go in there, I grab a special Amazon link, I post it on my page about what I'm about to buy or what I'm thinking of getting. Or have you all seen this? I post those kinds of things. Y'all see me post those regularly. You click on that link and you buy something from Amazon through my link, then Amazon gives me a couple pennies. Over time, those pennies add up to a nice little bit of shopping. Okay, that's what I use my Amazon affiliate for. If I worked it harder, it could be thousands of dollars a month. So I'm super happy that this ended up on the list. But what happens for a lot of us is we're like, oh, we're going to be an affiliate. And this person over here has a great affiliate program. I can sell their sneakers and keep and get 40% of the profit. All I got to do is pay $25 a month. All I got to do is pay $50 a month. All I got to do is pay $100 a month. But the products are so amazingly priced, they practically sell themselves. And practically sells itself. You better run, because that's code word for you're never going to be able to unload it. And don't you be the one that paid for it and then try to resell it. No, 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 sir, no, ma'am. All right. But there are plenty of reputable affiliates out there. In fact, even my own courses have affiliate programs. My courses have affiliate programs. So when I sell a course, I have an affiliate program. And our affiliate program is currently 25%. So if you bring a friend into my class, you get 25% of what they spent on the class. And if you can't afford my class, guess what you can afford? You can afford to be one of my affiliates, because it's free. And you could sell 4 people on the value of working with me and get them into the class. And now your class is covered. You know why I do that? I do that because I remember what it was like to be $800,000 in debt. And that's one of the ways that helped me get the education I needed to climb out of that debt. But if somebody wants you to pay to be part of their affiliate program, you leave that alone. You leave that alone until you have enough money in your pocket that the money you're spending on stuff like that is the money you would have spent at Pizza Hut or at the park or anywhere. Okay, it's your fun money, not your bread and butter money. All right. Number three. You know what? I don't know about this one. I hear people talk about it. I don't know but one person who's actually done this. And number 3 on the list of how to make an extra $1,000 this month is online tutoring. Online tutoring. And the person that I know who did this, she was an English teacher to students in China. And so that worked out very well for her, but I'm surprised it ranks so high on the list. Now, number 2 is overjoys my heart to see it on the list. They did not call it this. I forget what they actually called it, but when I wrote this, or when I created this, I changed it to what I know it as, which is picking, because they had some long descriptions and I kind of narrowed them down, right? What picking is, for those of you who don't know, picking is where you find things at a discount, and you in consignment shops. You can find them in storage bins that have been abandoned. You can go to yard sales. You can scour eBay or even Walmart clearance lanes. Any place where there's products that have been overlooked, or they've been overpriced and now they're being dumped at a super low price. You grab those up, you pick through the bad, you resell the good. That's why it's called picking. Like, you get the big $2 grab bag, you go bag, and there's going to be at least something in there that you can resell for $5 to $10 to $15 to $20. Well, you rinse and repeat that, and it makes a lot of money. Doesn't sound like it makes a lot of money, but I'm going to tell you right now, I got out of $120,000 $1,000 of consumer debt. About 120,000 of that 800, that 845-ish, whatever it was mostly real estate debt. But that first 120 was consumer debt. And I did, I'm not ashamed to name the names, okay? But your mileage may vary. Clearly, I don't do them anymore, so don't take the names to the bank. But I did Avon, and I found that, every campaign I could make about $100 for about an hour's worth of work. I did Mary Kay, which worked really well. I didn't run it like a business. I just gave people sales. And so I had the sales, and I was the only Mary Kay independent consultant in my church. So everybody bought from me at a discount instead of their old friends who were charging full price. That was great. That wasn't a business, by the way. I found that out when I moved to another market that had like 3 Mary Kay ladies. I mean, independent beauty consultants in that same church. I found out that wasn't a business, but it helped me. It provided me my makeup and my skincare. Okay. I didn't make money, but I made enough for my makeup and my skincare and my Bella Bolera perfume. Okay. So Avon, Mary Kay, and picking. Yes, pick the dollar store, the consignment store cast-offs. I would go and grab that stuff, and I would pick through the things that didn't sell, that the consignment store was trying to get rid of, get through the thrift store. They had the little colored things that, this month, all the red tag stuff is on 50% off, and this week, all the red tag stuff is 50% off, and all the yellow tag stuff is 75% off, and all the green tag stuff is 90% off. You better believe I would be in there getting all the green tag stuff. And you know what I would do? I would turn around and take it to the consignment store. I wouldn't buy raggedy stuff. I would buy stuff that was steeply discounted, but it had a good value that I could make a spread. Because if you drop off $100 to $200 worth of stuff, and each one of those is like cost you $1, but you can sell it for $5, well, that $100 worth of stuff turns into $500. And we don't think it's much of anything, but man, I was steady in that base thrift store and the other consignment stores in town. Oh, I'm gonna tell you right now, between those 3 things, that's how I got out of the first $120,000 of consumer debt. So I'm super happy that is number 2 on the list, picking. All right, number 1 on the list. This is something I haven't done, but I'm very much a user of these services, so I know they work. I also know that some people don't get treated very well with these services, but when you find people that do treat well, you can really make some money. And I say that because you can choose which jobs you take, and that is delivery services. Okay, so Instacart, DoorDash. Some people would lump in things like the car driving services because you're delivering people. But I have seen a lot of people complaining about that in smaller markets. Okay, so if you're in a larger market, I would add in not just delivery services, but also people delivery services. So your Uber, your Lyft. There's a couple of new ones that are out there. I mean, they have delivery services now for all kinds of things. Like if you want one that's all women, if you got some that are this, they've got all that. They got all the things. It's in larger markets. But if you're in a rural market like I am, a lot of people don't find the Uber and Lyft and like services. What do they call them? The ride shares. That's what they say. They don't find the ride shares to be that profitable, but the DoorDash and the Instacart and all that kind of stuff has been fairly profitable for people, and you can choose. And so when you have an opportunity to choose, go ahead and choose. I don't ever wait too long for my stuff. And you know why I don't think I wait too long for my stuff? I think people know that I tip well. And when they see my address pop up, they're like, "Ooh, I'm grabbing that one." And I mean, I don't use all those things that often, but they do provide us a convenient service, especially when I have these classes. It's a little too late for me to eat now. Woo, y'all, it's after midnight. But there have been a time or two where it's like, you know what? I know I'm going to be teaching till late, and I'm not going to feel like cooking me no dinner. I'm going to go ahead and get it. All right, so that's our top 7 ways to make an extra $1,000 a month. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and summarize them. Donating plasma, Pet services such as pet washing, or pet services such as pet watching, pet walking, or pet cleaning up aftering, mowing yards or other lawn services, affiliate marketing, online tutoring, picking, and delivery services. And so if you need help getting any of those kinds of services set up, then I encourage you to join me in my group coaching, which you can get at jjclink.com. That's jjclink.com/group, and you can join our group coaching. It's every first Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central. And if you can't make it and you send in your question, I will answer the question and send you the link to the answer. Okay? And so that's our top 7 ways to do that. All right, let's see. Let me take another pause while I grab my other questions. Okay, I've got 2 questions that are very similar. Okay, I've got 2 questions that are very similar. So I'm just gonna, let's see. The first one is, how can I speak to a financial advisor about my net worth without signing up with them? So I think what they really mean is, I want somebody to go over my stuff with me, but I don't want to have to open up an account at their bank, because banks do have financial advisors. I don't want to have to buy my insurance through them, because some insurance providers will provide financial advisement. I don't want to have to use them for my wealth management or my investments, because just about every investment house has a financial advisor. And almost every financial advisor will put you into investments. Those aren't really the kind of people you want to be working with anyway. Now, if you can't afford financial planning, then you start with the free, if that's all you can afford. But net worth is not that difficult. Net worth is what you own minus what you owe. And I remember a guy that was like, well, I control $1 million worth of real estate. Okay, you control $1 million worth of real estate, but how much do you owe on that? And y'all, because he had bought at the top of the market, he actually owed more than $1 million on his $1 million worth of real estate. That's a negative net worth. We have property, and we think that makes, being a homeowner makes us fantastic. And it can grow into that. But when you first start off, most of your mortgage is going into interest payments. Okay. So when it comes to talking about net worth, this may not be the question they meant to ask. When it comes to talking about net worth, it's really, what do you own versus what do you owe? And I might have this $500,000 house, but if I owe $450,000 on the house, and then I have this nice highfalutin car, but I still owe $50,000 on the car, I'm net worth 0. I'm worth nothing. Now, being worth nothing isn't always bad, okay? Because when I got out of over $800,000 of debt, I retired from the Air Force in November of 2020, and in November of 2020, my net worth was 0. I had never been so happy to be worth nothing in my life. If it hadn't been the middle of COVID, we would have had a JJ's Worth Nothing party, because I finally wasn't negative net worth. Excuse me. Okay. But I think what this person really wants to ask is, how can I find somebody to sit down with me and go through my finances and help me get on a path where I want to go without me having to buy stuff through them? And so in that case, and honestly, any case, if you can afford it, I really don't like people to go to the advisor at their bank or the advisor in their insurance company. Now, I'm not saying the advisor in your insurance company is necessarily bad, and I'm not saying the advisor in your bank is necessarily bad. There's goods and bads everywhere. Most of the time, those people are going to filter you through products that are owned or paid by the people who pay their paycheck. And if they work on commission, then there is a motivation for people to steer you into investments or steer you into insurance products that actually aren't that great for you, simply because that's who pays the biggest commission. And with the bank ones, I have found that the investments that I did back in the day with the bank advisors, they weren't very good. They weren't very bad, but they weren't very good. And so what do I recommend? I recommend that you find a fee-only financial planner. And because so many people call themselves fee-only financial planners, I'm going to even further recommend that you look for one that calls themselves a fiduciary. The funny word fiduciary means that when you come to that person for financial advice, they are legally bound to give you the advice that is in your best interest. It's also a code that people who hold the mark of certified financial planner abide by. They agree to abide by that code, that whatever my client wants or needs or is facing, my advice to them is going to be in their best financial interest. So it's not necessarily going to make me no commission, but it's not going to be based on who's going to give me the best commission. It's going to be on the client. And that's the kind of person you want to sit down with. Now, I offer, and I'm sure many others do, I offer a 30-minute free consult, and you can book that at another banner I probably should have pre-built before we got started, because I haven't given it to you in so long. Calendly.com/JJ Conway. You can look on there, and one of them's going to say discovery session. And in that discovery session, 30 minutes is really enough time. If you'll be honest with me and tell me what's what. All right. You tell me what's what, I'll tell you what, and we'll get it done. All right. 30 minutes is enough time to really go through it and say, okay, here's what you're looking at. Where are you trying to go? Okay. Here's where you're trying to go. Here are the different vehicles and avenues and plans we can try to get you there. Now, is it going to be complete in 30 minutes? Well, of course not, because I'm not going to know your risk tolerance very strongly. I'm going to know what you tell me, and what you tell me may not actually be true. I can't believe I said that. Oh, I said it. Yes, I did. Working with you over time, I'll begin to know the real you, not the you that you portray yourself to be. But if you'll be honest with me, we can get a lot done in 30 minutes. Yes, we can. And then you may not be able to build enough rapport with somebody in a short consult. So maybe you buy an hour of their time. Maybe you buy 2 hours of their time. But once you do that, you're not beholden to them for executing the plan. I create plans for people, and I purposely am not licensed to sell stuff, because keeping track of what I can say and can't say and all the regulatory blah, blah, blah just makes my head hurt. I'd rather refer the business. And I do. I refer the business. I create the plan. I create the plan. Look, we need to do this estate stuff. You need to do this insurance stuff. You're undercovered over here and you're overexposed over there. And we do all of that. And we set it out in the plan. And then here's a list of trusted professionals, if I have them in your area, or people that I know that work online. Here are people that can help you do the thing. Okay. And you can make the choice on whether or not to do the thing. And usually for most people who come into my ecosystem, most people, if your net worth is 2 million or less, you can execute a lot of this stuff yourself. Okay. You're gonna want to, never mind. I won't go into the deep details, but that's what I would recommend if you're looking for somebody with you about your net worth. Maybe you're looking for them to really discuss, like, your your future planning. Here's where you are today, but here's where you want to be in 20 years. How do you get there? What are the avenues? I'm a big believer that it's never too late. We can always find a way to achieve our financial goals, but you just may not like it. I had somebody call me, and it kind of hurt my heart because I actually really liked this person, and I hated for them to like not be, friendship mode anymore. But I had somebody ask me, they like booked some time with me, so I thought was cool. Okay, I appreciate when friends pay me, right? Like, because I don't ever go up to a friend and say, hey, can you spend your time and your business resources doing your business for me, and then I'm not going to pay you? Like, I don't do that. Now, I might ask, will you sponsor this event? Will you donate your time to this event? But I'm not going to do that for me. Like, I'm going to ask you to do that for the veterans. I'm going to ask you to do that for the children, but I'm doing that too. I think that's different. But I always appreciate when friends come out the gate with payment. And you will know, if you are one of my friends, you already know, and I hope you vouch for me in the comments, that I usually ask, hey, can we do this thing? Can we do this? And how much would it cost? Like, I always put that in there, so I'm not trying to ask you to hook me up, although I hope you will. I'm not asking you to do me a favor, although I'll take it. I'm trying to come correct on that. All right. And so they paid me, and we sat down, and they were like, well, I want you to teach me how to do this thing. I'm not going to name what it is, because if that friend is still on my listeners list, I do not want them to be embarrassed. Okay. But I want to do this thing, and you're really good at teaching. You taught me a few years back about doing this thing. Okay, well, what have you done on that? Well, I just kind of want this to come to me. I want the business to come to me. I want the money to come to me. Okay, but have you made phone calls? I don't want to make phone calls. Have you walked the streets? I don't want to walk the streets. Have you blah, 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 blah? No, I don't want to. And I'm just like, and then finally at the end, we didn't even finish the whole session. I was just like, if you don't want to work, I can't help you. You don't have enough time for the easy ways. See, if you're in your 20s listening to me today, and you want to put $100, $200, $500 a month into the stock market right now, and do that every month until you get older, even if you stop it after about 10 or so years, you are going to be financially better off than just about everybody else simply from the power of compound interest, the time value of money. But if you are like me, if you are in your 50s or older, you don't have time for that. You got to be aggressive and get out there and work, or pay somebody to do it for you. And so I'm just like, well, I can't help you. To get from here to here, where you're going to want to go, takes doing a little extra, because we weren't willing to do the extra when we were young. Am I speaking to anybody here today? Is there anybody else out there today who did not follow sound financial principles when they were young, and now they're like, oh, maybe I should have listened to the people who tried to tell me how to manage my money when I was young? Well, you can still be financially independent. I have seen people become financially independent in as little as 3 years, most averagely 7 years. I've seen it with my own eyes. I know these people. I can reach out and touch them. But it takes some work. It's not a set it and forget it easy street. Set it and forget it easy street, that was in your 20s and 30s. All right. Now, if you're in your 20s and 30s and listening to me right now, you better do this right now. Listen to Auntie. Take that money, instead of putting it on video games and Pizza Hut. And I shouldn't dog out Pizza Hut, because I actually like Pizza Hut, McDonald's, whoever else. Stop feeding your body with food that's not good for you, and feeding your brain with stuff that's not good for you, and put that money in the stock market. I know. They're not going to listen to me because I said that to me, but that's okay. At least I got it off my chest. All right. So anyway, to answer the original question, my suggestion is to find a fee-only planner and pay for the hour or two of their time. They will be focused on you, and everything that they advise you to do is going to be in your best interest. Now, I do need to make sure you understand, there is no requirement to call yourself a financial advisor. Some states have regulations on what people can promise or not promise, but most markets, anybody can call themselves an advisor. Now, you can't call yourself a certified financial planner without earning the mark. You can get in trouble for that. And you can't represent certain things if you don't have the licensing to do those things. Like, I cannot sell you insurance. I cannot sell you securities. I can tell you, go over here and set up your own account and do it that way. But I can't sell you those things. And if I tried to, I could get in trouble. And I don't feel like getting in trouble. I am too cute for jail. All right. So, but that's what I recommend. And if you have a significant amount of net worth, or you have big dreams and big goals, don't entrust your big dreams and big goals to somebody who's just been frittering away their life. Don't entrust your big dreams and your big goals to somebody who's living small and playing small. Don't be penny wise and pound foolish when it comes to your money. Get the proper experts on your team. Get the people who've been there, done that on your team. Get the people who went to school for a year on your team and who have been practicing for y'all who've been practicing for 20-something years on your team. I might be talking a little bit about myself and other people like me. Get us on your team. We are well worth our money. And you will be too. Ooh, all right. You're worth it. You're worth it. You're worth it. Okay. Now I have a similar, I said there were two questions that were similar. The other one is, how can I get financial advice when I'm broke and in debt? And this question is really near and dear to my heart because I remember being broken in debt. Now, the first time that I was in debt, it seems like such a small number now, but the first time I was in debt, and I graduated from the Air Force Academy in 1997 and had $8,000 of debt. And that doesn't sound like much in today's dollars. The most humiliating things that you will ever have is when you are trying to set up your first apartment and you've got your buggy loaded with plates and towels and all kinds of things at the local Kmart, and across the loudspeaker you hear your name and they are asking you to come back to the service desk because your credit has been denied. Yes, they said it over the loudspeaker. And I went back there in shame, hoping that none of my new coworkers was in Kmart at that time to hear it. Ooh, I go back there and I find out that $8,000 of credit that from the wedding and the honeymoon and some other things, plus back then your credit was tied to your spouse's credit. Especially as a woman, your credit was tied to your husband's credit, and my ex-husband's credit wasn't too good. Okay. And all the debt that we took on for the wedding wasn't good either. Okay. And so I go back there and they give me this letter that says, here's why we can't give you this. Your credit is too poor. I don't even remember if they gave me a number or what, but it was just the most humiliating day of my life. I go back to, well, at that time, okay. I go back to my apartment and I sit there with nothing. I'm a second lieutenant in the Air Force, making more than my parents put together made in my first paycheck, with nothing in my apartment because I had no money. I hadn't gotten paid yet. And yeah, I remember what it was like. And so I hear this channel, this Christian channel. I just given my life to the Lord. I was listening to all the Christian channels, and I fell upon a show called Money Matters. And Larry Burkett would talk about these different money strategies and best practices. And I called him up and I'm like, I would like the course on how to get out of debt. And it was an $8 cassette tape program, y'all. I couldn't even afford the $8 cassette tape program. And so the young lady on the phone said, well, let me talk to my boss. And she comes, so this was 97. Yeah. She comes back on the phone. She says, well, Mr. Burkett said you can have the class, but you have to promise to teach somebody how to get out of debt with his stuff once you get out of debt. And y'all, I listened to that cassette tape program. and listened to that cassette tape program and actually did what it said. And a year and a half later, I was out of debt. And I did exactly what I promised. In 1998, I had my very first financial coaching client using the cassette tape program from Larry Burkett. And I've been helping people get out of debt ever since 1998, y'all. Oh my goodness. And so that was the first time that I got out of debt. Now you would have thought because I had the education, I wouldn't have got back into it, but I did because life happened, and sometimes you let people into your life that don't agree with your financial principles, and life happened. I'll just leave it like that. But a lot of it was real estate debt. I used to be a big fan of real estate debt because everybody that I knew back then who had made it wealthy and financially independent with real estate had used other people's money. They had leveraged debt for their real estate. Well, that was all leading up to that big crash in 2008 or 9 or whenever it was. And none of us in our generation had seen a crash like that. Like all the older people, I mean, the more mature people, they had seen it. And you would see this in the Money magazine and the Entrepreneur magazine. You would see all of these people who were at the height of the market. They were selling their property and renting somewhere and sitting on all that cash. And sure enough, and I remember thinking to myself, why would you do that? Real estate always goes up. No. I found out the hard way that real estate doesn't always go up. And because that year, the real estate market crashed so hard, I had one property that we paid $405 for, that at the end of the crash was only worth $180 and still hasn't come back up to $405. Still, this is what, 2025? Yeah. So it hits hard. And those people who sold at the top of the market, they sold their property for $500,000, $700,000, turned around and scooped up even bigger properties for $100,000 or $200,000. They had seen this before and they were prepared, but I wasn't prepared. And so not only was I not prepared, but I various entanglements and things like that. I come home from a deployment and find out that all my stuff has been maxed out. And yeah, I was one of those, I use credit responsibly, so I don't have to worry about it. You do have to worry about it if other people have power of attorney over your affairs when you're in the military or otherwise incapacitated. Okay. So anyway, not to have a sob story or anything, but the second time I was in debt, I knew the basics of how to get out of debt, but the sheer numbers were just overwhelming. Like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I never made the connection between the $8,000 when I graduated from the Air Force Academy and the $800,000. The $800,000 12 years later. Something about these eights, y'all. Anyway, we're not going into 8 million. We're not going into debt again. So that's not going to happen. We're not going to keep adding zeros to that mistake. But yeah, I didn't know how to attack that big of a number. And I attacked the consumer debt. It took me about a year to attack the consumer debt, $120,000 of consumer debt. And I already told y'all how I did that. And if the podcast broke, if the podcast cut line was where that's at a different episode, I'll just summarize. I did Avon, I did Mary Kay, and I did picking, which was reselling, finding deals at yard sales and storage sheds and other places where consignment shops grab bags and things like that, and then reselling the good stuff. Okay. And so that's how I got out of $120,000 of the consumer debt. But just what do I do with all these properties? All these properties are upside down and the market is redonkulous. How am I going to make money without going into more debt? And in that case, everybody's got a program to sell you. Everybody's got, they've got a course and they've got advisory service and all these things. But I'm like, I don't even have $2. I bought my son one toy for Christmas that year, a dollar store car. You know what the dollar store cars do? They break after you play with them for like 10 minutes. And I remember when that wheel popped off of that car and I just cried and cried and cried. Give my son. I was making six figures, but I was $800 and something thousand in debt. And by the time you pay for your house, and as a single mom, I was paying for daycare and paying for extra daycare because the military don't care that you're a single mom. You got to be at work or you going to jail. And I was trying to do all these different things, and it just felt like it wasn't enough. And then this is all I could do, and that fell apart. And I didn't care how good your course was going to be. I was not paying for it. I needed something that was going to work. And I knew the principles from Larry Burkett, but I didn't know how to use those principles to attack such a big debt of properties that I could not unload. It's not like I could just, keep doing that. What I did, it was going to be another 8 years before I got out of everything if I could do that. But these were properties, and I wasn't the only owner on the properties. And I'll admit, I'm going to admit it right now. Don't you do this. I got irritated, like I shouldn't have to pay this. Have you ever delayed your goals because you were like, I shouldn't have to? Yeah. I would have been, remember that JJ's worth nothing party that I didn't have because it was during COVID when my net worth crossed from negative to positive? That JJ's worth nothing party would have been a lot earlier if I hadn't got all attitudinal in my feels about I shouldn't have to. Anyway, so if you are in a situation where you don't have any money and you really, really need help and you need somebody like me to come along, that's what these classes are for. You can ask your questions at no charge. You can go to ladiesofwealth.com and you can ask your questions on the podcast. You can come alongside and you can join me in the group coaching program. And when you join me in the group coaching program, you get access to me. You know why so many high earning mentors offer these kinds of programs? It's the same reason that Dr. Fraser taught us to give out our phone number. It's because he said people don't use it. You think that people are going to go in and they're going to waste all your time and they're going to tie up all your energy, but people don't utilize the gifts that are right there in front of them. People don't appreciate the gifts that are right there, and they hardly ever follow up. They hardly ever call. If you are in debt and you need somebody to help you, be the exceptional person that will take advantage of the things that I'm offering. Get on these Thursday night classes. We're starting back up for a new semester. Get on these Thursday night classes. Ask your questions. Get on that group coaching call. Ask your questions. And you will be able to get out of debt. Now, if you prefer learning from the safety of your own home, I am going to recommend oh, I must have taken it to my office. Okay, I am going to recommend these two books, but I also am going to recommend, let's see, wait, that goes here. I don't know if y'all could see that. Y'all see that one? That's my new book I'm working through. It's in German though. Or I do a book study with you. Your Money or Your Life, which I think I took to my office. I should buy another copy to keep in this office. Of course, half the part of setting up the office downtown was to get my stuff out of here. And I was like, no, I need more of it. Okay, yeah. And then the How to Manage Your Money by Larry Burkett is still a wonderful book. And I wish I could recommend my book, but it hasn't been published yet. I was like, I got all these books. I've written 13 books, y'all, and I don't have, well, I had Fix Your Money, Find Your Honey, but we pulled it because times have changed. And I might put it out there because it's got, it gets requests. but like that's the only actual money book I have, like that actually steps you through how to get out of debt. And so I was like, we need to do a new one. So hopefully it'll be here before the Power Networking Conference. But I'm going to recommend that you start with these 2 books. And I have a version of this. I have a class on this. And if you go and buy my book, which is in my office instead of here, my downtown office instead of here, if you go buy the book, I'll give you the class for free. You go buy the book, you send me your receipt of my version of Think and Grow Rich, and then I will send you the class for free. This book right here is going to help with your mindset, which you say, well, I need money, not mindset. But this is going to go into how to overcome the mindset that comes along and rides behind not having enough money. Okay. And then again, the Larry Burkett Managing Your Money series, which I don't know why I don't have it here. I have a bunch of them somewhere because that's the book I give people when they get married. That one and His Needs, Her Needs. Those are the 2 books that I give people when they get married. If I feel like they'll read it. If I feel like you're not going to read it, I'm not going to waste my time and money because Larry Burkett's not publishing more books, but I bought up a bunch of them. I've got enough to last at least a decade of marriages. Anyway, and by then my book will be out, right? No, my book will be out hopefully this year. My money book, I've got a bunch of them, but my money book will be out. Okay, so utilize those things. What I utilize the free things that were offered to me, and I utilize the things in the library. Some of these books that I have, like this one, I didn't have the money to buy it. Your Money or Your Life, I didn't have the money to buy it. I didn't have the money to buy a lot of the books that helped me really learn how money worked and how to get out of such a large amount of debt. And so I want to encourage you to go to the library, you see beware of some of the free YouTube stuff. Unless they're telling you with real world stories, beware of some of the free YouTube stuff. Okay. And what else could I recommend? No, I'm just going to stop there. But here's the main point that I want to make with that. When you make a commitment to living on less than you make, the doors will open. Somebody will put it in your hand. Someone will put it in your lap. Somebody will open up the door for you. Someone will create the opportunity. When you remain steadfast, and this is the goal that I have, and this is how I'm going to live my life, you will be amazed at what doors open up. You will be amazed at what things turn out to be free that other people have to pay for. It's like the Lord created this universe that rewards your commitment with blessings. When you make that commitment and you stand by it when things go wrong and you don't have money to get them fixed. You stand by it when your business is having this issue, but you don't have the money to buy the tool or hire the people that'll fix it. All of these things are interconnected, and it's all about our energy and our commitment to ourselves and our financial future. And once you make that commitment, the resources will appear. In addition to me, I'm a great resource for you. All right. I hope that helps you some. And if you're the one that asked that question, or if you're willing to do the work, then you can go ahead and reach out to me and I will add you to my group coaching. Absolutely no charge. I'll give you not forever though, because people don't value what they don't pay for, but I'll give you a free 3 months into the coaching program. Okay. All right. Let's see if I've got, I really should get going, but I want to do one more question. I had another question. What happened to my page? That must be the okay. Yeah. Okay. I know what I want to talk about before I go. All right. I have talked about scams. I know I've talked about scams. I talked about the rental car scam. And I talked about it, and I made a little short on YouTube. It's only a 2-minute video. I hope you'll go watch it. Basically, with rental cars, you not only need to make a video and log all the damage before you take the car off the lot, you also need to take video and document that there's no damage to the car after you're turning it in. Because what's been happening now is these rental car companies, they are allowing the car to be damaged and they're going back after you because you don't have any proof that you didn't damage the car when you returned it. So make sure you don't just do a before video, but you also do an after video so that you are not held somebody else's damage and these crazy scams that the rental car companies are going through to ensure that they get as much money out of you as they can. Rather than fix their failing business models, they're just going to fleece the consumer. So you want to watch out for that. The other thing we want to watch out for, it's the beginning of the school year, and so I don't think our students are going to see this until later, but I want to tell you about it now. You need to watch out for these scholarships and grant so-called programs where they're going to help a student out. If you don't have enough money to make it through the end of your semester, these special grants and scholarships will help you make it. But really what they are check deposit scams with a whole new veil and veneer. What they're basically doing is they're like, oh, my friends have this program. We'll get your application. We need your bank account information. They're going to put money in. They're going to take money out. And when the dust settles, the bank's going to realize the money that was originally put in was fraudulent. And so then the bank is going to take that out of your account. Well, guess what? These people already took the money out of your account. And so now you're left holding the bag. And it can result in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of debt very quickly. A reputable scholarship or grant program is generally going to pay to the college itself. Even if they pay you, they are not going to ask for your 2FA codes, They're not going to ask for your online banking password. So don't ever give those out unless it's your mama and you trust her not to steal off with your money. All right. Okay, I think that's enough for one night. I appreciate those of you who've been on to the end. I know that I took a lot longer than I intended to talking about the family trip, but you could see the joy on my face and how much fun we had. It was such a great time, and I'm glad that you were here with me. I hope the questions that we've answered have been don't see any questions in the comments, and it is 1 a.m. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, y'all. Thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you so much for watching or listening to us on Ladies of Wealth podcast. You can ask a question anytime anonymously or provide your contact information at ladiesofwealth.com. You can do written questions and comments and feedback, and you can also do voicemail. And if you do voicemail, we'll include it when I answer your question. So your voice will get to be on the podcast. All right. That's all I've got for you today. Y'all take care and be blessed.